Back again. This is our third installment now of the sound waves. Okay, so I seem to be kind of talking a lot, but there's a lot of different little concepts that go along with this, and I had to go back and rewatch and review here, and I know that we're looking at air columns vibrating, and I think I was just talking about the fact that all of the different harmonics or overtones could be present in an open-ended tube, and that's why we make so many of our instruments that way. And the closed-end tubes can't produce all those harmonics. They only produce the odd harmonics, so they don't give us as good a sound quality. Again, these are our pop bottles versus our the bulk of all musical instruments, which have kind of open ends on both ends. You provide push of air in one end, and provide the air on the other end. Now again, that's not to get confused with the fact that we can't get all of the frequencies. We can get the frequencies out of them, and that's why when we change the length of our tube. So by changing the length of the tube, we can get a different frequency. So that's how we kind of look at that. So we can get the parts of the wave and produce the different frequencies based on that. It's the harmonics and the overtones that we get that are different. Again, let's see. We'll start to see this. We're going to produce fundamental wave patterns in our speed of sound lab. I think we already did that. I'm guessing based upon this. So we'll have a chance to look at that in terms of resonance and producing a standing wave in a standing air column wave. All right. The very last thing that we want to talk about is this thing called beats. Okay. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever had to play guitar or learn how to play guitar or play any instrument of any kind of sort, but when you're tuning that instrument, you need to always kind of have a reference point or somebody that you reference off of. And so a lot of times you'll hear, like, say, even the pit orchestra on a production, right before the play begins, they'll all hit one note, and you try to see if they're getting it in tune. Okay, so they're all playing the same frequency, except that their instrument might not be playing the frequency that they expect to. Okay, what ends up happening here is that you get two waves that are kind of a little bit off. Okay, so in other words, this whole idea of superposition or interference is kind of brought into play. Okay, so in other words, here we have two waves, and the two waves are off just slightly. Okay, so they're off by like one might be a frequency of say 342, and the other one might be off, say, 340. So they're playing two different frequencies of sound. Now, because you see those differences in those frequencies, okay, you get this kind of odd sound when it's played together. It's kind of a wah, 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 wah. And the number of beats that you hear represent the difference that you're off on your frequencies. So in other words, we would hear 2 hertz difference between these two, because there's one that's 2 hertz less than this, or the difference between them. We could also have a 2-beat frequency that would be just 2 beats above this. So in other words, somebody else could be playing, say, a 344 hertz frequency, and they would have a 2-beat difference as well. And again, what we're seeing here is we're seeing this superposition of the sound waves, and so some of them the amplitudes are adding together, and some of them the amplitudes are subtracting, and so we get kind of a standing wave within the standing waves, and that's what we call our beat patterns. Okay, it's our beat frequency. Now, that should be it for right now. Oh, excuse me. Oh. So I wish I could edit that out. Anyways, we will be moving on from sound into light. So we move from a medium from a wave type that required a medium to a wave type that doesn't require a medium. Okay, so light is kind of our nice one that doesn't require a medium, which means that we're moving from music into pictures and cameras and lenses. So, any questions? We'll take care of those tomorrow.